that every single one does, because on the flip side you have like the elites like Howard, and everybody has some sort of issue, and I mean HBCU, PWI, whatever. Nobody's perfect, but it was just the generalization that all HBCUs have accreditation problems, and I think our instructor was trying to also get this young lady to understand, like, you can't generalize. Because then if you're generalizing an institution, how are you going to generalize? Are you generalizing the students who attend those institutions? Are you saying that they're of a low SES, that they can't afford to go to a PWI or something like that? And just trying to get her to think.
So the instructor did that?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in these situations and you're in the classroom and these racial issues come up, like what's your initial reaction to it?
Oh,
what's your thought process?
First, I'm going to be like, "Are you kidding me?" But I know I have to just, I can't do that. I mean, as much
Why
as
you say that?
Because then you start getting judged and you get frowned upon and you get stereotyped as that loud, angry black woman, and what she has to say is irrelevant to the conversation and things like that, to that nature.
So you purposely
have to rein it in. Oh, absolutely. And then I have to stop and think about, what am I trying to say without, quote unquote, popping off at the mouth. Mm-hmm. And then I have to check myself and like, well, why did what they say make me mad? Mm-hmm. And it's like, am I really listening to what they said, or am I listening to how they said it? Now, I've had to really catch that in a lot of classes. So now it's like, can't just pop off at the mouth with something just because it sounded like it was derogatory or racist or something like that. So I've gotten a lot better since I've been in more classes.
So during your doctoral studies, this also ties into what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Explain how you make decisions on a couple of things for me. It's like, for example, explain how you make decisions on the way you dress. How you style your hair, mm-hmm. and also just talk a little bit more about how you engage in classroom dialogue. I know we kind of hit on that a little bit.
Sure.
So if you could talk about your thought process that you go through with that.
Okay. So I'll start with how I dress. A lot of the times, again, when I go to class, I'm coming straight from work. So I don't even change clothes. I don't have time to change clothes. So what I have on, for the work day is what I come into class with. So as I've gotten a little older and as I've just progressed along in my program, I realized, because it was an instructor when I was in undergrad, actually, and I worked in the Department of African American Studies. My boss told me, and it was something my mom had long told me, but I didn't really make the connection. He was like, you have got to dress for the job you want. Okay, when you were undergrad, you broke. You can't really afford clothes. So as I started, getting full-time jobs, and then my mom gave me the best piece of advice. She's like, look, once you've paid all your bills, each month, each time you get paid, set something aside and buy a new piece for your wardrobe. Mm-hmm. Whether it's accessories, whether it's shoes, whether it's a jacket, whether it's a skirt, whatever. Buy a new piece for yourself and just build your wardrobe off of that. And so I can, be stuff that you can be versatile with. Okay, so now I'm a professional. I've been working in higher ed for 9 years now. And even that's been an evolution of myself. Because when I started working in higher ed, I was 22 years old. I'm 31 now. That whole decade, that's a whole evolution of me. And now I try to dress better for classes or for work. And if I don't have a blazer or something on, it must be a casual day. That's me. Also, with my hair. So I have been wearing my hair natural now for just over a year. So I'm still fairly new to this. Because when I started my program, I was still getting relaxers. It was, long. It was straight. It was, and sometimes I missed the long and straight until I pulled this number. Like, it's still there. Mm-hmm. It's just all like today's in the afro. And I've been wearing it like that a lot more lately. And I remember I had a readings class last semester where we were talking about feminist post-structuralism. And our instructor was talking about how natural hair with black women, and this is a white instructor, but she was saying how hair is political. And I keep having to ask myself, like, okay, what kind of answer am I going to have when people say, well, why you wear your hair natural? I was like, for me, it's a health reason. because it's like the chemicals in products for black women to straighten their hair are harmful to our bodies. They cause fibroids. I know personally. I just had mine taken out. So it's just like, I don't want to be like dealing with this kind of health issue just because it's something I'm doing to straighten my hair because society says I have to. That's dumb. And plus I got tired of my scalp burning. So I do this just because for health reasons, to keep my hair healthy. Not really to make a statement, but when someone says, hey, Angela Davis, yes, I will put up a fist and be like, hey, Black Power. Just as a, I'm saying it jokingly, but I do take it seriously also. Right. But I know as I walk around campus and I've noticed white colleagues they'll kind of look a little bit, won't say anything, but they'll kind of look. And I'm like, it's an afro, y'all. They had them in the 70s. My mom wore one. I mean, I don't think of it as political, but apparently it comes off that way. So in class, I'm like, if you see me with an afro, it really doesn't mean anything except that this is how I choose to wear my hair.
So on your Saturday class, how do you choose to dress when you go to class?
Oh, well, jeans then. But I still haven't, what did I wear that first day? Jeans, but I had a nice top on. Just because a lot of it also is because my students, this is the persona that I have to put on for them. Like, I am a professional with them. And I, even on weekends, I could run into a student somewhere in a restaurant. But because I'm not here and I'm not, quote unquote, on the clock, although I guess you always are on the job, when your students see you, they always going to think of you as your role. And they don't necessarily see you, the person. They just see what you do, and that's it. But on Saturday classes, jeans, maybe a nice top. That first day we had class, it was raining, so I was just like, it's semi-nice. And rain boots. It was raining. But, Fridays at work and Saturday classes, I dress down. Like, even still on Fridays, I might wear jeans, but I might still have a blazer on, or I'll put on a nice top. But never just completely dress down jeans and t-shirt.
Why?
Because I feel that if I did that, as opposed to some of my white colleagues, I'd get judged. That wouldn't be considered as professional.
The last part of that question, explain a little, or talk a little bit about how you make your decisions on how to engage in classroom dialogue, like if at all. Like, how do you pick and choose?
I think because I've been told, and I know this about myself, I'm really passive. Until there is something I'm really passionate about. So while I may not engage in conversation as much, like classroom conversation as much in the beginning, I'm listening. I'm too busy trying to listen to everything to take it all in, so I may forget, like, open your mouth and say something. Until, depending on what the topic is. So then if it's something, about women or black women or black people as a whole, or not even just that, but usually it's always something about race. Oh, well then, okay, let me think about how the conversation is going and then contribute. But yeah, I'm usually too busy just trying to listen to what everybody's saying, and then I forget to say something myself.
So when you hear things that are related to race, how do you decide to engage?
I've realized now, looking back in 2 years of being in courses and everything, that when people say something, I'll ask a question. Because at first I used to have to, that whole having to, stop the pop off of the mouth happening. Then I stop and think about it and like, well, what, and I may ask, well, what exactly are you saying? I've learned to do that now. Because again, people who don't live the experience or who aren't black and don't know what, experience of being black is like, they may not understand. They may say something just because they're not aware. So I ask, well, what do you mean by that? Or what exactly are you asking? And then based off of their answer, then if I, whatever they may say, I may be like, oh, okay. Or I may be like, oh, well, not necessarily, and I may respond.
In terms of, I know we talked a little bit about a little bit about resources. So what are some of the available resources for Black female doc students here at this PWI?